Gensel on the right. He's got Jay Gensel.
Hundley holds, steps up. Hundley sacks T.J. Watt. NFL history. Watt has tied Michael Strahan's single-season record.
Oh, no.
In the air to right. This is deep. And he did it again. Jack Sawinski wins it for the Pirates. 3 home runs in a game.
Oh, this is live. Hey, for all of you who wanted to announce, we apologize for last week. Our TriCaster, which is our technological thing that gets us out everywhere, we're having difficulty with it again, so you won't see any graphics. So I'll have to explain that this is Pittsburgh Sportsline live in the BP TV studios, 5100 West Library Avenue, Bethel Park, the municipal building. Police are to the right, we're to the left, and we're in the studio here, the BP TV studio. Thanks for watching us. We appreciate you there. You can see us in Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. You can see us in Verizon 32 here in Bethel Park, and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. And thanks for our Facebook likes. I won't discuss how many. We just know we haven't hit 7K yet. I was hoping to hit it by the end of the year, and Facebook changed something called algorithms. Now, I'm old. I just know about Alan Levine. I don't know about algorithms or whatever they're called. Sorry, I messed that up. I practiced that all day.
That was pretty good, though.
I practiced. Oh, man, unbelievable. Well, I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. You found that out. Smoking Jim Frazier's here. Jim Guns Ellenbogen's here because Chip Hainer had a successful knee transplant. His second. Smoking Jim. I got a disclaimer.
I didn't know.
What do you mean you didn't know? What didn't you know?
Smoking Jim. This disclaimer is so disrespectful. He already has one transplanted knee last year. He got his second transplant knee. He sits next to Smoking Jim for every show when he's here. So Smoking Jim knows he got another knee replacement. And after the surgery, Stephanie dragged him to the car, dragged him upstairs to the upstairs bedroom, and he's up there as far as I know. Prayers for Chip Hainer. Hopefully he heals quickly. Jim Ellenbogen volunteered to be a co-host with the rest of us. Somehow he joins in with some of the knucklehead fun we have. So we appreciate him.
I had an uncle.
And Smoking Jim's disclaimer, he does not represent any one of us or the station. What he says makes so much nonsense and is actually mean, because who would call somebody peg leg? That's like telling the joke in the past. Friends of mine would go, "Did you ever meet my Aunt Peg? She has a wooden leg."
I was going to say, one of my favorite uncles had a wooden leg, and he used
How
to
did
work,
I beat him
he
to
used
it?
to work in California. He used to pick litter up with his foot through in the park.
Now, Smoking Jim, another disclaimer. Well, here's what I got to say, Guns. Smoking Jim said when he was first on the show, Nick, how does he say that? I'm an
honest man.
I've never heard a guy tell me for 11 years, I'm an honest man. So guess what? He's lying again. And let me get to Nick Callis, the VIP. And we got some promos. And please ignore Smoking Jim, including when he talks about gambling. If you haven't started gambling, don't start betting now. And if you do, just understand that this weekend he lost on 2 out of 3 of his bets. That means he did not make money.
That's true.
There you go. I believe him. No disclaimer. All right.
You were the best looking guy in Bethel Park.
I believe that. No disclaimer on Guns.
Just saying.
I salute you. That's why I wore my pink. I missed it in October because I support any cancer survivors and pray for anybody that's had cancer. And it doesn't matter just about October, because the disclaimer on the NFL, They're a multi-billion-dollar entity that is a nonprofit granted to them by the government. So why are they worth $8 to $9 billion? Think about that. All right, now we'll get on. Olive Oil's Pizzeria sponsors the show with an XL pepperoni pizza. Steak hoagie cut 6 slices. Frank Finero sponsors us, great owner. He said hi to Smokin' Jim exclusively. And I said hi back. Smokin' Jim always says hi. I said, I know he lives in Monroeville, I just don't know where. And he goes, you mean that's a mystery? All right, you can get all kind of great Italian food there, even desserts, salads, pasta, everything is great there. Hillcrest Shopping Center. I'm trying to keep it short and sweet, so here we go. We got Michael, Marco's dad, on the camera. Him and Johnny Mariano volunteered to come in and left their kids at home. We got all guys, all adults here. And we got a young adult, Buck, running the controls. So look at the good job he's doing there. Mike did a great job. I end each show with Stay Joey Strong. We honor the 8-year-old Joey Fabus, who died of DIPG, a dreaded brain cancer. The family started Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. It's like jfccf.org. Go there, you can donate money. All right, another 501c3. Smokin' Jim knows what that means now. Last year we did a tutorial for 6 months. Then we had a bonus for 2 more months because I had to get my dictionary out to explain it. All right, Bethel Park Historical Society, Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road, has the white and red trolley. That was what they used to ride. I used to ride in it from Dormont to go work at my Rouse discount job. You can donate money to them. They do a lot of great things. They have the great Reginald's Coffee. Check them out. Their coffee is better than Dunkin', Starbucks, and anybody else. They have roasted coffee from around the world. They have a roaster right in their coffee shop. So check it out. All right, here we go. Another 501c3. Mike's working the best he can. Look at that. That's Bennett. He was a handicapped boy, had 2 kidney transplants. One was from his dad, Dean. Well, his mother, Kristen, and Dean started Always Be, hence Bennett, Smiling. So they're on Facebook. We pumped them up to 1,200 likes. Please like them and check out Always Be Smiling. And like them too. All right, Jessica Lee and I are doing a special fundraiser. Santa for seniors. Let me say Santa for seniors. And it's unlike what Smokin' Jim does. Like 100% donate blankets, Pittsburgh sports gear, sweaters, sweatshirts until Christmas Day. I'll have the can next week for Santa for seniors. Whatever you donate will go to seniors. I have to emphasize this, a little length of this. A lot of seniors, believe it or not, unlike Smokin' Jim with all the godchildren, hundreds of them, and cousins, and he showed a family picture with his immediate family. There were 49 and a half people there. I counted. And a half. Go see the picture on his Facebook page. So we'll have a can out there. It'll be marked Santa for Seniors. Donate there, and you know your gifts will get to seniors in our area. I promise you. Personally, not Smokin' Jim. Sorry, buddy. Look at that pink shirt. Look good. Okay. All right. Bethel Park Community Foundation. I'm a trustee. Go to bpcf.org. We've given out $1 million in 26 years. If your group needs money, we have from $1,000 to $5,000 in grants, and it's not for gambling. So check that out. You know why I say it. And go to bpcf.org. All right. Even though Jim Ellenbogen says how good I look at this face on Uncle Sam. Dave Cable likes to have a little fun at my expense, and he did it. I want you for BPTV. I don't know if we have a volunteer in Johnny Mariano. I don't know if we have a volunteer in Michael Rodi. But I know we got a volunteer with Buck Gasper, and Nick Callis. If you're in high school, I got extended a little. Call 412-831-3304. Tell Dave Cable you want to be on cameras and do your own shows. You want to learn audio, video, control. And maybe if you talk real nice to the talking machine, you can be like Nick Callis.
What bar did Smokin' Jim have to clear to get on here?
We can't mention.
20% of his wins.
I have a little. Now I know we're having too much fun, but this is a little sad story. I won't mention Mike's last name, but he liked me even though he called me a Yinzer, and I was a union guy, and I'm a Democrat. He hated all of that, and he said I'd be good for doing a TV show because I had a good voice and, could talk. So he was right on that. So Smokin' Jim, he introduced me to Smokin' Jim at his house in Dormont. We hit it off within about 10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
And we've been friends ever since. That was back in August of 2011.
Got a good memory.
Well, I'm older than you. I know that. But I know words. All right, wreaths across America. I'm pausing here for Mike to catch up with all that. But, yeah, Mike brought us together, and he's no longer with us. He lasted almost 2 years because I'm a very patient man. And you can watch all of our videos on Pittsburgh Sportsline channel. I emphasize again, Pittsburgh Sportsline channel on YouTube. We're trying to get new subscribers, so I'll repeat it a third time. Smokin' Jim, Pittsburgh Sportsline channel on YouTube.
You are a subscriber.
Bingo, we got them. All right, Wreaths Across America. Dick Kraft gave this to me. Lisa Jenkins is in charge of it. Jim Jenkins are helping out. You can go to the Bethel Park Historical Society and donate like I did. I got my 6 wreaths. They're $15 a wreath, so Smokin' Jim can figure out, well, maybe not. He went to Gateway, how much I spent. But it's a great donation for a great cause. My dad and son are veterans. My dad's passed away 11 years ago, so it honors 540 veterans in our Bethel Cemetery, and we're going to give it to Peters Creek Cemetery for their couple hundred veterans there. So we want a good turnout with all these wreaths. So buy them quickly, and let me see when it'll be. December 17th, 11 a.m. Be there. All right, we got to go to one of our segments. What's on your mind? Smokin' Jim, I never lie, or I'm always honest. Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
There it is.
You got to see Levine. But I tell you what, man.
Still got it. Still got it.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Like-
Enough
look
of
like
that.
fireman. Look like fireman. But yeah, let Dave Cable.
I caught it.
Let Dave Cable know if he's having problems with equipment. I can use some of my Bitcoin money, and we get him something fresh right out of the box. Al Levine.
One disclaimer. I want to
Does
end.
Amazon deliver?
I gotta sad to say we like talking sports, but even Tom Brady lost money on Bitcoins and sponsoring it. You know,
And
he's
I'm
getting
making
paid.
money.
Smokin' Jim's the only guy in America. The FTX Bitcoin exchange went bankrupt. Some of the firms are getting sued because, believe it or not, Smokin' Jim works with a group I don't want to mention, but a lot of them are going to jail because they misrepresented where the money is. Matter of fact, the Bitcoin exchange is getting in trouble because money they said they had was there. Sad to say, Smokin' Jim, it's not there.
My money's there.
Show me it.
The Christians said.
Show. He dropped a dime on him. Pray.
But hey, I took a lot of heat last week on the show when I said how proud I am of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes, you did.
And I'm proud again this week. Listen, what I seen in the Cincinnati Bengals, listen, people remember what you do in December. And the Cincinnati Bengals started getting hot in November.
That's not what that saying is.
It's close to it.
Isn't that a song?
It's close to it.
Yeah, it's a song.
And And I tell you what, the Cincinnati Bengals are starting to look like a Super Bowl team. They're starting to peak at the right time.
What's
And-
this have to do with proud about the Steelers?
Well, I was proud how they
when
played
they
them last week.
They beat one of the worst teams yesterday.
But they won.
They beat one of the worst teams that their Matty Ice slid before a first down.
He should have.
And he didn't run through it because he's old and crippled at 37. Then you have Jeff Saturday, who I like as an ESPN
I like him
commentator.
as a coach.
Well, I don't like him as a coach because how'd he miss out on 30 seconds at the end of the game?
Yeah.
Your boy Cowher used to do it, and so does Tomlin. Now I know why you like him.
Let's not compare anybody to Bill Cowher, the greatest.
the running
Except
backs.
that you're talking
He
about
couldn't
Vince
manage
Lombardi.
the, he couldn't manage
But
the clock.
see, me and Jim thinks the same way. It's not what you do.
He didn't talk to you.
It's not what you do. It's how you do it. And I like the way the Pittsburgh Steelers, the running game's starting to come along. Freiermuth is starting to come along. You know, the young receiver George Pickens is starting to come along, and your rookie quarterback is getting a little bit better. And now we just got to keep the defense being enthused, and they have a chance, you know, in the second half of the season, maybe to finish with a non-losing record. And that's what's on my mind.
Smoking Jim, I
So
gotta go.
proud.
I gotta go back to last year when I helped you out.
I'm black and I'm proud, and I'm black and yellow proud.
I have no idea what he's talking about. My only point was last year, I told him when you look at how great Cincinnati is and they got to the Super Bowl, they were, like, mark this down because Smoking Jim forgot it, they were a half game better than us.
But the Steelers last night beat a Super Bowl almost winning quarterback. That's very important.
They
beat a Super
choked up
Bowl-
worse than anybody in history.
They beat a Super
Hold
Bowl
it.
almost winning quarterback.
No, he's a
That's
gambler.
close.
You're going to listen to him?
That's close to being a winner.
All right, let me say hi to people that are watching us. Oh, Marco Rodi. Do I pronounce that right, Mike? Rodi. Rodi. He's watching. Tim Davis is watching us. Amy Sliss is watching. She said hi. Tony from Chick-fil-A said, only technical difficulty in the studios coming from Smoking Jim's mic. Not much sports talking. Tony, you win the award tonight with the best discussion on Facebook. All right, let's see who else. Guns is watching. Ron King is watching. Hold it, wait a second. Chip Hayner with his brand new knee is watching. Good evening, gentlemen.
Does that mean he heard your comment? I wonder what he thinks about that. If you didn't hear it, don't rewind.
Okay, Chief says, Chuck McElroy goes, keep Smoking Jim out of jail. I'm trying. Get well, Chipper. All right, Gene Gasper said, Bucko Nick.
Is that me?
No, is that his dad? Okay.
Oh, okay.
You know, Nick is Buck, but, you know, you're Nick, so. And he's allowed to say hi to his son.
Sure, that's why I was confused.
All right, and then Amy informs us Steelers won yesterday. Okay, we're up to speed. Thanks all of you for watching us. We appreciate you. And on Facebook Live, the technical difficulties, Nick will redo that tonight, maybe with Buck's help, and they'll get all the graphics in. But we're going to go right now to Jim Guns Ellenbogen filling in for Chip Hayner.
Well, first let me say, Chip, I hope you're feeling better. I know that's a nasty operation, so good luck. Hope you'll be up on your feet soon. Well, let's see. Steelers, I saw a little bit of improvement on the offensive line, I must say, particularly in the running game. I mean, Benny Snell, they made him look like Earl Campbell last night.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I thought that was an improvement there.
Well, you know what I saw? Just to interrupt you, I saw the linemen bunching up with 4 other Colts, and I saw Benny go to where the linemen were, and guess what? We haven't seen it that often because Najee had the steel Herman Munster boot on. He went left, and when he would go left, because I noticed each play was going
He
right.
made some nice cuts.
And guess where the defensive line was at? Now, Smoking Jim's an expert scout, NFL scout. He knows when the defensive line's in the backfield of the offense that somebody missed a block. Well, all of them did. Carry on.
Well, little bit of improvement with Pickett,
Yeah,
but
it was a little noticeable.
the defense, the only time I saw a defensive lineman was when one of them actually fell on a fumble.
No.
I didn't even see Haywood.
That's
But
true.
I will say one thing. Everyone talks about how when TJ's on the field,
Yeah.
he's better. But I noticed something. He's not right yet. Anybody that's played any ball that knows you tear a pec muscle
Yes, sir.
or any muscle like that,
Yes, sir.
Jim knows. Look at him. He's
Well,
tearing one up right now.
the thing about it is there's no way he's hit the weight room in when did he first get into
2 months.
2 months. So his strength is way low. And believe me, I've injured myself and tried to get myself
Not
back.
you, Guns. Look at you.
Oh no, I've gotten hurt and tried to get myself back to where I'm playing ball and I don't have the strength. But if you really look at TJ's play right now, he's trying to outrun the guys around him. He doesn't have the strength yet.
Good point.
Because I know he's not in the weight room. If he is, he's using lightweight. There's no way with that muscle they're
Well,
letting
your
him.
analysis is good. Did you notice this? That he was kneeling down a lot during the game.
Right.
And the defensive or the offensive tackle was manhandling by himself.
They know that. That's why you're seeing these one-on-one guards handle him, because they know he don't have the strength to push on them.
That's what I observed. So
He don't
thank
get
you.
around. Yeah, if he don't get around them, that's why he's
No
not.
disclaimer on Jim Guns Ellenbogen. And he's on that side of the
But-
table. Carry on.
The thing about it is because he's the strongest link in the chain, you see what's
They're
going
all
on
weak,
everywhere
yeah.
else. They're still paying him a lot more attention, which is making Highsmith look better.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what, if I was him, I'd get rid of all them defensive backs. They're awful. And one thing I will notice about the Steeler defense, for the most money they're spending for them,
Yeah.
do you ever notice, I saw one solid tackle on the defense.
Tackling's
Every
weak.
tackle,
2-3
they
guys.
they carried a guy 2-3 yards or hold on to him. Even Minka was, I don't know, maybe he's
No,
not.
Minka made a couple good shots.
Yeah, but I seen him get dragged a few times too. So it
Yeah.
may be from
Kidney
residuals
stones.
from the
Kidney
operation.
stones.
You know what I mean? So these
Yeah.
guys don't have their strength back. So that's what's on my mind.
The only good thing is they're the highest paid defense in the NFL.
But I'm going to get. I think the Steeler defensive line belongs on a milk carton.
Hayward was there.
Oh.
All right, we're going to move
Did you,
on.
what did I? You know, and I like Hayward, but what did Hayward? I didn't even see him. I didn't hear him called one time last
I
night.
think
didn't
once.
either.
Yeah, I think once.
There were 4 guys on him, and the other 2 were just standing there waiting to see if somebody fumbled it. And
Yeah.
Wormley got one.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, boy.
Hey, great
Hey,
analysis.
you got to get the truth.
All right. We'll let him watch Smoking Jim eat some more. I think he clipped a finger on that, and his pec muscle's cramping up. All right. Nick Callis, what's on your mind?
I've tried to work on it.
Well, I'll shift it a little bit. I'll talk about football a little bit later, but the Pirates
Even when I was okay.
signed a first baseman, which is now their third first baseman acquisition this year so far, which is interesting.
Hold
They're
it. I got to
focusing-
interrupt you.
Okay.
My son, Big Drew, he said, I only got one question for Nick, and I knew you'd feed into it.
Sure.
He goes, what do you think of getting a 36-year-old first baseman that hit 19 home runs? That was more than anybody on the Pirates.
Well, there's a twist to this.
That's what he wanted from you.
Santana's
He wanted-
actually going to be 37 by the time the season starts. So if that makes it better, which, of course,
I was all excited. I thought they drafted Carlos Santana, the guitar player. He'd be better than this guy.
You heard it here first.
well, hold on now. No, hold on now. There are a couple of,
Good one.
because I was thinking about this because I'm like, this could be a good thing, but is it actually a good thing? So
Well, tell Drew what your
I
thoughts
remember
are.
when they signed Melky Cabrera a few years ago when he was just out of his prime, and I think the Pirates were the last team he played for. He was like 39 and not in his prime and performed kind of well, but like not enough to be like good. So there was that. Now Santana got traded from the Royals to the Mariners last year, and he was a part of that Mariners team that broke their playoff drought and went to the playoffs. So does that mean
good?
he's a good player? And I also know that he was poor when he signed with the Phillies in 2017, I believe, but then got traded back to the then Cleveland Indians, and he became an All-Star the year later in 2019. He was an All-Star as a first baseman at DH. So it's like He's playing well for teams that are good, but are the Pirates good enough for him to make an influence? Maybe. Do I believe in intangible leadership that happens in locker rooms? I do. But is Carlos Santana going to be a magician and just magically make everything better? No. So I don't get it. Trade for Ji-Man Choi, find a minor league first baseman from the Marlins, and then Santana signing for
Can I interrupt you?
$6.7 million.
What are you telling Drew then? Big Drew's listening. He said, I'm not going to watch the Penguin game. Amy said the Penguins are up 1-0 against Carolina.
Yay.
Big Drew wants to know.
What's his exact question? Do I think it's a good idea?
Home. No. He
Well,
wanted
what
to
I
know
think
if
about
you
it.
thought it was a good idea.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to err on the
He's
side.
being wishy-washy.
I'm
Drew,
gonna-
what can I tell you?
If they now here, I'll answer it this: if they hadn't acquired Ji-Man Choi already to fill that position, and then a minor league young guy, I would say, yeah, it's fine if they hadn't done that. But since they already did that, why put in a Hall at first base? And everybody's talking about they don't have a first baseman, but I also know that when they acquired Miguel Andujar last year from the Yankees, that he could also play first base and be a designated hitter. He could do both of those things. So in my mind, they have 4, which I'm like, what are they doing? And they're not going to cut Santana. They're going to cut Ji-Man Choi. I mean, he's still expected to be paid a good bit. So I'm going to err on the side of no in this case, just accepting all the circumstances and factors in this deal. I'm going to err on the side of no, not a
Well, when
not
I
a great
talk
decision.
to Drew, I'll see what he thinks of that. Here's what I think. We're reverting back to the Pirates of 20-some years ago. They used to pick up every washed-up player that they could get a hold of.
But I can't tell if he's washed up.
No, but they said the same thing. And you work for the fans, so you could be prejudiced because of what you're being told and see. And that's what they thought as an organization. And guys had boats, never played a game. Guys got millions of dollars, never played a game. Jack Morris, one of the best pitchers, couldn't get the ball over home plate. So I'm seeing the same thing when you tell me we now have 4 first basemen. Like Smoking Jim's an expert on baseball, and he said anybody could play first base.
Yes, sir.
So we understand where he's coming from. He's a NFL scout. So I just wanted to put that out there that maybe we're reverting back to the mean on what we used to do. We're spending the money to try to put a Band-Aid on a gushing fire hydrant.
But there's no Band-Aid here. But that's what I'm thinking.
That's
I'm
my
just like,
point.
I can't tell if this is good or not. I can't tell if Santana will be good or not because of what he did with the Mariners.
All right, Guns has a point.
As long as, in my opinion, Nutting owns that team, his business model is to make money. And whatever he's doing, it's not to win, it's to make cash. That's it.
But a nearly $7 million contract, too. That's got me thinking, like,
We did this 20 years ago.
why that much money? But the Pirates back then were doing a lot of bad stuff. This is just one big signing. They haven't signed a player to
Can
this
I
much money.
Let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
What good things have we been doing lately?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they haven't dished out a
can hit the
contract
ball.
of this value in
Yeah.
a long time. So that's why I'm kind of like,
Do you think they're desperate?
no. Why would you be? Well, maybe they're desperate to try to compete for fans. But if we're talking about Bob Nutting's model of I just want to make money, then they don't care about any of that.
Well,
Why 7? It's a puzzle. I can't figure it out. I hope he does well.
Well, let me
but
give
I-
you a little help. Jim actually met and knew and worked with the Pirates when he was at the Sports Authority.
Okay.
So I would consider him a personal expert on what he saw and witnessed with the Pirates. And if he has an opinion like that they're about their bottom line, I got to go right with them.
But then
It's
you
not
said they're
the thing.
desperate. So why you say they're
Because
desperate?
they still got to have a team that looks half decent on the field.
That's
It's
the
like one
point.
of them old westerns where they put up, you think you're in a town, but they're really just wood fronts with
A
two
facade.
What do you
by
call
fours.
the last 3 seasons? Then though, that's my thing.
Look,
This is like,
but
how
worse.
desperate could they
he
be?
said
who-
worse.
Look
Worse.
at everyone they've traded
In the last 3 years?
in the last 10.
Well, I'm focused on now. If they're going to be desperate, that means that they have something
Well, no,
now that's
they're
motivating
not
them.
going to be.
I think he's
They've
trying to get
been
a
that
team
way,
that.
but they've been lying.
I just think it's about fielding a team that he don't want to hear all the crap that we're not trying, but way in the backfield, he's not doing what needs to be done to win. There's a difference between playing to just play and playing to win the World Series, and he's not doing the things that you need to do
As a
to make
patient-
a world.
As a patient Pirate fan, because Nick said we got to be patient with things, I'm very patient.
With the Steelers.
I know
not
you
with
are.
the
You told me
Pirates.
this when you were 12.
Not with the Pirates.
Well, I'm very patient.
Wait a minute.
With the
I
Pirates.
said that about the Steelers.
Well, I bleed black and gold for all of them, so I'm patient.
You can lose patience with the Pirates. They haven't won a World Series since 1979. The Steelers at least
I
went to a
remember
Super
that
Bowl
year.
a little over 10 years ago and won one a little under 15 years ago. So that's my point. I was alive the last time the Steelers won a Super Bowl. I was not when the Pirates won a World Series. So that's why I'm talking about
We were.
Be patient with the Steelers. Well,
Hey, you know what? In 1960, I was 4 years old. I don't remember anything about the championship and Maz hitting a home run.
well, you still got 71 and 79, didn't you?
Yeah, but I don't remember it, but I saw it and stuff because I saw videos. So I don't know if that counts for anything.
You being 4 years old, me being negative 35. I'm just saying. That's the difference. All right.
Take your negative 35.
That's what's on my
You
mind.
know what? 40 years from now, Nick's going to be our age. He's going to be sitting there going, them old guys were right.
Then he's going to go, they're dead, though.
Maybe.
I'll probably be gone.
Right?
Smoking
As long as there's
Jim.
honeys, we ain't going nowhere.
We don't know Smoking Jim's age. He'll still be alive, so he can do it. All right, some people have been making
He's
comments.
timeless.
Let me see. Tim Davis said, thought TJ looked lighter.
He's lighter. He ain't
Chief
hitting the
said
weight.
Santana batted about 210 over the last 3 years. Chief is a great stat man. Him and his dad, Jimmy Mack Sr., used to go over stats in baseball books at work for hours a day. He knows. And he goes, he gets hurt. Amy said, get well, Chip. Joe Board from Board's Boxing in Toronto hires here. Steve Callis, VIP's dad, said, just hire some non-talent for Pirates with very cool names and film all year and make Major League 3. The return of Wild Thing. Be productive in some way. I salute you, Steve.
That's cool.
Tony from Chick-fil-A said, final 4 teams in for college football playoffs. At the end of the show, we'll try to discuss that. That'll give our panel time to think about it. And we'll move on from there. What I got to say, what's on my mind.
Yes, sir.
I can't believe the Steelers won. I can't believe I watched the whole game, and I said, we're not even better than the Indianapolis Colts. Are we going to lose? We had them put away at the half. Absolutely put away. Nobody in Pittsburgh media, except for me, has ever said that Tomlin is a slow-starting head coach and a slow-starting second-half team. 2 second halves in a row, this isn't a bad word. I can say crap, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They look like crap again. I just needed some validation
It's in
here.
the dictionary. You can say it.
Well, I'm gonna pull my 1909 dictionary. It's out. Well, I couldn't believe it. How does a guy in the NFL today? This is why you know Indianapolis is desperate, sort of like the Pirates are. And he was 8 yards deep in the end zone. Now, I'm not stuttering, Smoking Jim. He was 8 yards deep. What do most guys do? They walk to the goal line and wave. Not even wave. That's traditional. What did he do? He saw the quality of the special teams. And he looked up and he said, they're running at me like they don't even see me. He went through 89 yards. How do you not even score a touchdown when you run 89 yards? And then they scored 2 touchdowns right off the bat, and we were 3 and out. What kind of team do we really have? And I think it's in the lower third of the NFL. Maybe we'll go on that hot streak that Smoking Jim's talking about, and Nick believes that we can hit the playoffs. You know, not to put words in their mouth like Smoking Jim does, but he's not going to put his money where his mouth is. We still don't have a good team. Kenny Pickett showed a few little flashes that he could be a NFL quarterback. He didn't quite run out of the pocket every time. He actually completed a couple passes You know, there's a pocket like this. He's back here. He runs up here. He passed the ball. Real simple, from back to front. And guess what? That's why when your linemen get in front of somebody and they're on the ground, guess what? That takes a second or two, and he's throwing in about 3 or 4 seconds, so he got a pass or two off. Then everybody's looking at the next greatest NFL receiver, George Pickens. Well, everybody knows he had issues in college, all about him and other things like that, which some prima donnas do. And he makes some of the greatest catches in the world, and then he gets a pass thrown right at him, a couple of them, and he drops them. So my man wants to talk about Johnson. You can't trust Deontay in catching the ball. We all know that. But how's George Pickens any better than him? Just because he can make a one-handed catch? Look at the stick-'em and gloves they have on nowadays, you know? That's what I want to go and find out more. How does it stick to those gloves? But, hey, that's my analysis. I'm happy for a win because I'm the guy that when you get a W, I don't care how it looks. But you know what? It doesn't make me feel any better about what I see as the first team below the standard is the standard, and the rubber hit the road and we missed the road. So these things are going on. We're going to go to Smokin' Jim Frazier with Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
Right now, you're up.
Oh, I'm up already. Okay. Thanks to Al Levine, the Talking Machine.
I was testing them, folks. Sorry.
In Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC is the 4 teams. I know we was going to do it at the end of the show.
Thanks for not listening.
And the best team I've seen all year is Michigan. Jimmy Harbaugh got them playing so well. That's the best team. They'll beat Georgia. But, hey, Al Levine, the Talking Machine.
Yes, I'm right here.
We talk about that there hasn't been many rookie quarterbacks that played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I remember a guy that coached at Pitt named Jackie Sherrill.
I do too.
And Pitt had a great quarterback named Rick Tricano, who I thought was outstanding. And Dan Marino went there as a freshman. Tricano was a junior. And somebody asked Jackie Sherrill, who recruited me the year before, and I kept staring at his hearing aid. They asked him,
what did that mean here?
When will Dan Marino play? He says whenever he's ready. I was shocked. About 4 games into his freshman year, they replaced him, Rick Tricano, who was playing good. Listen.
Hold it, I got to interrupt you. Now, you say that about Dan Marino.
Yeah.
You know it took 5 years for Kenny Pickett to get like Dan Marino like.
Well, I'm just going to talk about some of the rookie quarterbacks
sorry to
the
interrupt
Steelers
you.
had. No. Terry Bradshaw didn't do well in 1970. But don't forget.
Hold it, you're taking my argument.
But don't forget, in 1976,
What happened to
Mike 6-0, Khrushchev went 6-0 with the Pittsburgh Steelers as a rookie. Bubby Brister played a couple
Hold it,
games
what was
in
the
86.
defense like?
Yeah, I'll give you that. Bubby Brister played
Whoa,
well.
what kind of defense did we have?
Not much in '86 when Bubby played 2 games.
Did we have a losing season?
But when in 2004,
I'm putting a dictionary. I know what butt
don't
is.
forget in 2003, without a quarterback, the Pittsburgh Steelers went 6-10. They got a quarterback in 2004. Big Ben went 15-0. And don't forget, we had another great quarterback that could have been the next Fran Tarkenton that went 5-3, Duck Hodges. And now we
Disclaimer.
have
Disclaimer.
and now we have Kenny Pickett. So he's in that long list of rookie quarterbacks. Again, I believe that this was a Super Bowl caliber team that put a quarterback in too soon when he wasn't ready. And that's on the head coach and the coaching staff. And that's what's
Smokin'
the
Jim.
fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
You know what?
Mike Khrushchev, 8-6-0.
I actually met him at the saloon in Greentree.
He could lift weights, man.
He was
He
well
was a
built.
weightlifter, yeah, Boston
Well,
College.
I got to do a disclaimer, but I don't even know how to disclaim the lack of intelligence. My man, you can check the film from a month ago. He was saying all these quarterbacks that were rookie starters, how great they were.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, all of them.
Yeah, and I said how many out of 10,000? The percentage is like .001 in Gateway, they don't know what that is. It's not even a
Most
fraction.
rookie quarterbacks go to terrible teams.
Well,
Big Ben and Kenny Pickett
I
went
want
to
to make
good
a
teams.
bet that
Big
we're,
Ben and Kenny Pickett
well,
went to
then,
good teams.
my thing against intelligence here is I'll take any money you want to bet that the Steelers aren't in the Super Bowl next year.
I bet on Iowa tonight.
Hawkeye.
9:05 game.
We got to move on. Right to Jim Guns, Ellen Bogan, and
That's
his
a black
segment.
and gold team.
Well,
Understand.
I got a couple of different things. One, if I hear Mike Tomlin use the word component one more time,
Can you explain that?
all he talks about is this is a component of this and this is a component of that. But let me tell you something. You need all the components to make a whole, and you have a lot of components just aren't there.
I got to pull out the dictionary.
I'm telling you.
We're looking for components.
As far as the Steelers with quarterbacks, they have a history of letting great ones get away. They let
Yes,
Johnny Unitas get away.
Lenny Dawson.
Lenny Dawson, Bill Nelson among them, Earl Morrall. So, But I'd like to take a minute to recognize some high school football. Aliquippa, they don't even belong in the high school league. They had to put them in the NCAA.
College. Whoa.
Machine. Their offensive line averages 320 or something. They're like, if they're kids.
How do you spell steroids?
Well, but the big thing I want to talk
I'm
about
just saying.
is the first Christmas miracle I saw was in Class A championships.
Whoa.
In 2021, the defensive coach for the champion Mount Lebanon team was a guy by the name of Kim Nbola. Okay.
Whoa.
Union High School, who hasn't been to a playoff since 1973, recruited him as the head coach. He took this team to the championship as a 10th ranked team against the mighty Bishop Canavan Crusaders, who were favored to crush them.
I grew up in Greentree, right near them, 5 minutes away.
And Nbola convinced those kids that they were that good, and they smoked the mighty Crusaders 26-0 to win the championship.
They beat
So my hat's
Canavan.
off to that coach Nbola, who really knows how to coach kids, because what he did with a team that wasn't even supposed to be there to win it all, congrats to him. That's what's on
I didn't
my
know
mind.
that.
Can
Yeah.
It triggered my mind. I'm a historian.
We don't know what you are.
Do you know who his dad was?
The name sounds very familiar to me.
His dad was the starting quarterback for Beaver Falls, was an All-American quarterback, All-American in baseball, got a full scholarship to Miami of Florida, and his backup quarterback that was a junior was Joe Namath.
That's
He beat
where I
out Joe
knew that
Namath.
name.
Joe Namath didn't start quarterback
Beaver
to a senior
Falls.
year. And then he coached Western Beaver for a lot of years. So
What happened to
that was his
Eastern
daddy.
Beaver?
That's his daddy. I can't pronounce the name, but I remember the fame.
Remember that guy, because
Tell us the name, Jim.
it's Kim, I think it's pronounced Nbola, but
Chip off the whole block.
But after creating that Mount Lebanon defense that won the states, and then
Yeah.
going to this farm town that told these kids you are that good,
Wow.
and won it all. It's
Thanks
an
for sharing
amazing
that
fit.
story. That
it's
is
an
great.
amazing talent.
No, I know you listen to all the games, so some of your favorite announcers are there. So
The great Johnny Lee.
there you go, buddy.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Great job.
Well, there you go, Tony from Chick-fil-A. Smoking Jim knows everything, even history.
And he's the pinball champion of the world.
Is he?
If you're white, you're all right.
Yeah.
I can't. I got to disclaim it. These are his opinions. You know, in this day and age, he's so far away from politically correct. I just want to share this, that he's actually a black man from a black family. And I'm stunned by what he says and does.
My niece Kimmy is white.
My man, there were 49 and a half relatives. He's sitting back on a sofa, big as a house. It looked like he ate the whole turkey.
I don't have my phone on me right now, but I really want to. I
check
really
it
want to
out.
know what the half is in your family. There, a half a person. Who is it?
49 and a half. All right, let's go to the VIP. Come on, VIP.
All right, the opinion. So, Jeff Saturday was a hot topic when he got hired, and then he kind of wasn't, but then the Steelers just played him. So I'm going to give a little bit of an opinion on Jeff Saturday and the unorthodox moments that happen in sports. So Bill Cowher made some comments and said, I don't care how he does, shouldn't have been hired. Okay, well, that's great. But
That's
here's
a
the
comment.
But here's the thing. The results of your decisions that you make, they do matter. Those have to come into considerations. And I see so many times in sports where like everybody's doing the traditional methods where, A leads to B and C, and nobody skips letters in the alphabet. Kind of like Smoking Jim does in his own head, right? We got to go from here to there.
He doesn't know the letters. He's a writer that doesn't know all the letters.
But
he can't say 26 of them right now.
well, anyway, but yeah. So
Truthfully.
in circumstances in sports, I believe that results matter. So I believe that if you hire Jeff Saturday and you have a reason to hire Jeff Saturday, then whatever it may be, and then he starts winning games and doing well, then that matters. That matters for something, that he was the most qualified person or that he was the best person for the job, and help the Colts or whichever team decides to hire whichever coach helps them do that. And I talked about this with Brian Flores too, how it's hard for the league to police teams on who to hire and who not to hire because they want to hire the best options. And if they don't want to,
I have to interrupt you because you're a great historian at your young age. You haven't been around that long, 24 years, soon to be 25.
Okay.
Now, the owner of the Colts, Irsay.
Jim Irsay.
Irsay, yeah. Sorry, I mispronounced it with the show and Jim. It happens. He doesn't have a very good reputation as an owner.
I've heard that.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah, well, I've heard it and I've experienced
I've seen it.
Yeah, so
I mean that's part of it. And then Cowher, his clock management was never any good. And you can watch the video. You can watch videos of games where his clock management wasn't good, and yet Smoking Jim thought he should have been in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know if he should, only winning one Super Bowl with the talented defenses that he had. So, but those are just a couple things I wanted to put out there.
The only thing we truly know is the Miami Dolphins ain't Miss Flores one bit.
and that's the case, which
right
is why.
What Nick
but I mean, actually,
that's a good point.
He didn't even like to it.
That's a good point into what I'm talking about.
That's a great point. Finally,
no, I'm with you.
Yeah, Smoking. I was hoping to get some thought process.
You got involved in a productive way. That's what I'm talking about.
First time this year on Pittsburgh Sports Line.
Ring the bell.
We can't know why teams do what for what reason, and I think that there shouldn't be limits put on what teams can do from that perspective, because again, I mean, if an owner owns a team, the owner gets to make decisions based on the investment he's making in the team. That should be that.
Here's a major question I have. It just broke because Smoking Jim added some wisdom. And it brought me up thinking, we have something called the Rooney Rule. Because Flores, we got him because of the Rooney Rule. They wanted to show that they practiced that with black coaches. So what color is Jeff Saturday, Smoking? He's right.
He got a Jerry curl. So
he's right.
Might be,
No, he's right.
Biracial?
No, he's right.
That actually exposed a really weird loophole too, which you don't have to interview. You don't have to follow the Rooney Rule in your interviews when you hire in the middle of the season.
Interim coach.
Right. So interesting point. But what I'm talking about is
just saying.
This all kind of encompasses what I'm talking about, which there are good things that can happen when you do things that are unorthodox. With hiring coaches, with making weird decisions, with just being out of the normal. I relate this to the Pirates a little bit too, because I got a pitcher named Holderman who they acquired from the Mets, and this dude was arguing with the umpire a little bit when he was missing his close pitches. And as much as I don't like too much arguing, I like seeing that from the Pirates, because for the last few seasons, they didn't argue and they didn't really show emotions and they weren't really doing anything. But to have a guy who's throwing in the high 90s with his fastball, and he's fighting for calls with the umpire, like, okay, I don't fully support that, but at least we're seeing things. So this kind of goes more from just the whole Jeff Saturday conversation, but sometimes it's okay to embrace the unorthodox things that happen in sports. We can crush people when they don't work out, but if they do work out, if things are getting better, then don't use Cowher's blanket statements of I don't care how they do, I don't support this. Maybe support it. Support a little bit of the unorthodox as it happens. Life's not always fair, And the best decisions that are made aren't always the most conventional. Think of that in sports. Think of that maybe in your personal lives.
Oh.
But either way, but relating it to sport.
Talk to personal.
Stop. I didn't mean that. But at any rate,
I did.
Sometimes it's okay to embrace the unorthodox if it works, not to just shun it blindly.
Guns.
You know, and I respect everything you're saying, but this is the issue I have with what Cowher said, and it exposed it. They want to have a union shop, these coaches. They don't have no problems, the different coaches that pick their kids to coach. That's okay, as long as you're part of the club.
The old boys network.
Right, you know.
Good old boys.
Look how many guys whose kids got in there. What experience did they have, other than that's their dad? So my point is this: whether Saturday is a good hire or not, that's not the issue with me. Right now, he's a lousy coach. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? But the point here is, what about these guys that are good coaches that would love to have a chance, but because of guys like Bill Cowher, you're not in the club, so you ain't getting in. And that's my issue.
That is a great point.
Well said.
Can we prove he's a bad coach, though? He's only coached 2
Well,
games.
let me put it this way. He's a bad offensive picker of coordinators, because that's the worst offensive coordinator I've ever seen.
I also don't know
He's
why
the worst in Canada.
I also don't know why he didn't call more timeouts than he did against the Steelers. And I guess to speak to Smoke and Jim's point, too, if we're speaking of the Steelers, talking about how you're proud of them. How many mistakes did the Colts make that a playoff team wouldn't?
7. Good point.
7, okay, sure.
I thought a dozen.
The Colts are not a playoff
I
team.
thought a dozen.
Or they might evolve into one, but they surely didn't look like it against the Steelers. So,
Well, I'm glad we had this discussion. Nick, you were on fire there.
Fire.
Thank you very much.
job, Nick.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you on that, but every time I look at Smoke and Jim, I see Cowher. And, you know, he doesn't want to contradict Cowher's statement.
Power.
I'm surprised. You made a sly comment that turned out to support my argument. So, bam.
Yeah. That's it.
All
I'm
right.
always supporting you, brother. I believe in you.
Even when he disagrees with you.
Or he's trying to shun Brian Flores.
Yeah, what a disrespectful thing.
If you white, you all right.
Hold it, I got to give Flores some credit. Since they hired him, we have the highest paid defense in the NFL. He got the money. Guess what? What did I tell you many years ago? Always follow the money except when you're talking to Smoking Jim. Because there's no paper trail.
Well, Smoking doesn't have any money. He invested
Well, that's why there's no paper trail. Whatever's online isn't real. But he'll find out because they're going to jail. But, all right, On Location. No On Locations till the end of the year. We've got a couple potential ones in April of next year. And we got some talks with some local bars and restaurants coming up after the first of the year. So look for On Location in 2023. So we'll be out there and still doing shows every week like with you. We appreciate all of you. Whether you agree with us or not, that's not the point. We try to deal with some facts. And then I like the opinions and the discussions, because then you find out truly how Smoking Jim is and other people. So we know how he is. He loves to entertain us. He's number one on the show. Nobody entertains better from start to finish. We don't understand 80% of it, but that's what makes it funny. And we're just trying to provide a distraction from you from what you normally hear in sports. And we all watch the games. And what I tell people, you've always heard the eye test. Well, how about all of us? We don't work for $1 billion team. When we see they're not playing like they should or could or would or who knows, then there's a problem. So it's as simple as that. We're playing at this level because of what we were left with after a Hall of Fame quarterback retired. Yeah. And what plans did they make? The Duck got lucky in 1 year when no other team in the NFL picked him up. We let him go. And against Smoking Jim's better beliefs, no other team picked him up. So now he's watching Smoking Jim make fun of how great he was. So how cool is that? Anything else you want to discuss? It's an open table right now. We'll defer to the guest host right now if he has something to bring up, because he watches a ton of different things, Smoking Jim. What do you want to bring up? Guns.
No, I just...
I know you got something in there.
No, I'm just trying to figure out the Steeler team still. You know what I mean?
What's your thought on him?
Honestly,
Yeah.
like Tomlin would say, there's components of this team
Okay.
that really need work. The special teams, that was offensive. That's how bad that
Well,
return
if
was.
I'm a media guy, I'd have a question for you, and this will prove what Tomlin's talking about. Do you watch the players or do you watch the components?
I watch the players. He
Okay.
talks about components, but I'm just trying to use
That's
his
the
language.
point I wanted to make, because I'm still looking for when the rubber hits the road, and then next man up. Benny Snell proved he's the next man up after a couple guys got hurt. We didn't even talk about Najee, looked pretty good, and then he got hurt with some injury. So Smoking Jim calls guys like him that get hurt Smoking Jim.
I mean, there's things like everybody, including we want to see Kenny Pickett succeed.
Yeah.
So we give him every benefit of the doubt. Even if he was another quarterback on another team, they'd have buried him. But because he's Kenny Pickett and people love him from Pitt, they give him that. Now, one of the biggest problems this offense has, and people don't want to recognize it, anybody that ever played ball knows, you have to allow the pocket to develop before you start running.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He don't even give these guys a chance.
And on your point, do you notice how I do that he doesn't see the whole field?
No, because he doesn't see the thing developing. Now, this is not a great offensive line. And you want them to do stuff
They
that
aren't
all
improving. I'll share that. They
right,
aren't improving.
but you want them to do things that all pro offensive linemen can do, and that's figure out where he's running and that before it even develops. These guys can't
Right.
block when they're right in front of them, let alone when you're chasing the quarterback. And that's why there's so many
Right.
penalties.
On that point, do you watch a game like I do and you see all the defensive linemen, like almost all four, in our backfield?
Yes.
And that's every play. So how's the local media say that the offensive line got better from game one? I saw it then, and they were 6 or 7 yards back. Now I see the offensive lines 3 or 4 yards back with guys in with them.
I wonder, a lot of times, like guys I played against, guys have triggers and things they do, and I wonder if there's things that he does that signal to them where he's going, because
Well,
it just
here-
seems like they're on
Here,
him
I want to
before.
share this with you. Smoking Jim, you'd say Brian Cook's a pretty good guy and
That's my man.
knowledgeable man.
That's my man.
He's our man, takes photos and all this film.
I ain't gonna
And guess what he heard on the Indianapolis bench, and he posted on Facebook? They're making the same plays
sound like
consistently.
sound like
Well,
he's
there
a
you go.
traitor to me. He's on Indians
He was
pitch.
he was on their side taking pictures of the Steelers.
Steelers got a side.
But Smoking Jim.
Traitor.
If I want to,
I love him,
Nick,
but he's a traitor.
No, let me explain something, because Smoking Jim's very naive. Okay. If you have a camera and you take a picture, how would it look of Smoking Jim?
Dark.
Okay. Now, Smoking Jim, if you had a camera and you're taking a picture of yourself, how's that going to look?
Well, if I was taking a picture of Nick, it looked just like Jeff Saturday. They look alike.
Are you
I remember
being
when Jeff-
disrespectful?
I remember when Saturday was.
He has a
25.
Jerry
He's
curl.
a good-looking guy.
He has
got
a
the
nice
beard.
haircut.
He got the blue eyes. Jeff
We-
Saturday was a good-looking
We
guy.
look
Oh,
alike because we have blue
Wait,
eyes.
I got to
What?
interrupt. A good friend of mine from Keystone Oaks, Bob Boovey from Dormont. We used to talk in school. You remember I'd talk a little bit in school, Bob? Now I'm talking on a show. So thank you for tuning in, watching the
That's
show.
what's up. That's
Way
what's
back at KO, 1974.
I got one comment.
Go
tonight
ahead.
before
We
finish.
got less than a minute. Make
Okay.
it good.
I heard this comment and it moved me a bit. What if Kenny Pickett actually didn't play this year, and what if we didn't have the analysis that we have on him now? Or what if he didn't play and get the experience he has for us to be able to diagnose and understand the problems he could work on for the future?
Let me explain real simple. If he didn't play this year, he'd be starting out really fresh, and we might have offensive linemen next year.
Yeah.
This year, what he's learning is not helping him develop as an NFL starting good quarterback.
Good point.
Fair enough.
It's
Very
simple
well
as
said.
that.
Very well said.
That line has no anchor.
Right. And you have no leaders on that offensive team, which you need. Like, how is our captain, Mitch Trubisky? We're going to have to end the show. Thanks, all of you, for watching it. Thanks for some old friends and KO grads watching, and all you other folks. We appreciate you each week tuning in. and we'll stay Joey strong.